Welcome to r/slash Off My Chest, where OP is being sexually harassed by his stepdaughter. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Help, Please. I'm being sexually harassed by my stepdaughter. I feel like I'm living with a demon. I've been in a relationship with my wife for 13 years, and her daughter was 3 years old at the time. Everything went really well until she started entering adolescence. And from that point on, she began to be a bit too tactile with me for my liking. She would pretend to kiss me by quickly bringing her mouth close to mine, play footsie with me under the table, ask me to scratch her back, and then asking me to go lower. In short, completely inappropriate behavior. My wife and I have tried everything, including 2 whole years of family therapy, during which she would go as far as to say that she was madly in love with me and wanted to spend the rest of her life by my side. Wife with 13, that means she's about 16 years old at this point, I guess. The therapist suspected sexual abuse, but nothing came of the accusation. Later, she got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. We don't know what to do anymore. I have another little girl who's 6, whom I had with my wife. And I must say that if it weren't for her, I think I would have already left the household. It's becoming unbearable. I've tried yelling, explaining, crying, ignoring. It doesn't work. Sometimes I have to pick her up from school and all of her friends know about it. What? She tells everyone that she's crazy about me, which leads to extremely unpleasant situations when I meet other parents at school meetings or events. I don't attend them anymore, by the way. 3 days ago, I got violent with her. I slapped her with the back of my hand when she touched my thigh while I was driving. I went effing nuts, telling her that she was a whore, that she was destroying our family, that I wanted to kill her and myself. Yeah, I went berserk. She just smiled. Like, really, it was effing surreal. I don't know what to do. I still have 1 year left before she's 18, and at that time, we could do some legal stuff to make it stop. But I don't even know if my wife would go through that. Sometimes I feel like my wife just wants to die or leave me. My wife is in a deep depression, and so am I. I'm taking anti-panic medication. I started smoking again, and some days I don't even come home. Instead, I just go to my brother's place and pretend I had something urgent to do. Everyone knows the real reason why, but some days I just can't take it anymore, and I need some breathing room. Friday, I stayed at home while they went on some family trip. And I checked my stepdaughter's laptop because I know she takes photos of me like an effing paparazzi. Well, of course, there's a whole folder with pictures of me. I took some photos because I wanted to gather evidence, and I didn't even have the energy to confront her later that night when they came home. I won't even tell you about her browsing history. I'm losing my mind, and our poor little girl has to live with us in this nightmare. I'm effing crying. I want this demon to disappear. I feel like even if she did leave the house, my marriage is over. I sometimes feel like my wife thinks I did something to make this happen, and it's killing me. I didn't do anything. She's just effing nuts. I don't know how this will end, but I don't see a happy ending. If someone here has a bright idea, feel free to tell me because I'm actually losing my mind. Then OP posted an update. I got an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow morning. I packed a bag for my daughter and I, talked to my wife, and I said that I'm leaving to my brother's house with our daughter. My wife just went silent, prepared a backpack with snacks for our 6-year-old, and she hugged her and said goodbye. I just arrived at my brother's house. Honestly, I'm a mess. I had my wife on the phone, and she was sobbing and couldn't even speak for 10 minutes. She said she couldn't make a choice and she felt trapped, but knows that we tried everything. She calmed down and talked to our 6-year-old daughter and told her that we'll be together soon. I feel like my heart is about to stop. Luckily, my brother is the man. He took his daughter's bed out of the attic and made a room for us in like 2 hours. So yeah, I left home tonight and I have a meeting with the lawyer tomorrow morning. I took 2 weeks off from work. I don't fully understand my wife's position yet. I don't know if she'll follow me in the legal process of getting that demon out of our life or if she's still under her spell. At this point, I told her I don't care what she does anymore. The most important thing is that our daughter is away from that evil. And, oh yeah, I took my stepdaughter's laptop too. Yo, your stepdaughter seems legitimately mentally unwell, as in she needs to be checked into a psychiatric hospital and have 24/7 supervision or something. Our next Reddit post is from Lizard Queen. I'm a 33-year-old woman, and I've been married to my 33-year-old husband for 3 years, together for 7. The first year we were together, we lived 3 hours away from each other, and one weekend while I was at his place, I found out that he cheated on me. We worked through it, he moved in with me, and we've been pretty good ever since. I like to think that we have a relatively strong marriage, or at least I did. Last week, he told me that he had to go away this week for work. His best friend back home is having some pretty serious mental health issues and can no longer be allowed to use power tools. However, he was in the middle of a building project that needs to get done, so the dad of this friend hired my husband to finish the job with him. So it's like a work trip, but also kind of not like a work trip, I guess. He told me he was leaving Tuesday and he'd be back Friday. Since he left, I haven't spoken to him for more than 5 minutes at a time. Usually, when he's away for work, he's calling me 5 times a day, which I thought was weird, but I just assumed that he was busy hanging out. Tonight, he once again only called me for 10 minutes and told me that not only is he now staying until Sunday, but that he's also going to get his car looked at, which is why he can't talk long because he worked late and he still has to take the car in. When I asked him where he was taking the car to get fixed so late, it was almost 10 o'clock at that point. He said that he had a buddy the next town over, which is over an hour away, that he was going to take a look at it tonight, give him a quote, and get parts and fix it Thursday. There are huge red flags now, because if he was going to a friend's house, he always tells me who. It's never just a buddy. And as his wife, I know that he only has 2 friends that live in that town, and neither of them know anything about cars. We have a tracking app that we use for us and our kids' phones, so I decided to look on that. He got there at midnight. It's now 3 a.m. and he's still there at neither of the said friends' houses. I just know. My gut is just screaming that this is exactly what I think it is, and I'm sick to my stomach. My best friend is asleep, and she's all that I have, and I just had to get this off my chest before I explode. Then, 5 days later, OP posted an update. So he finally came home Saturday night. I'd spent the entire week gathering the information I need for divorce, but what I really need for myself was proof. Proof that this was anything other than what I think it was. Proof that I was crazy for even thinking that he would do this to me. Instead, I found her. He claims that he went over to her house, but never actually slept with her. He entertained her, but never slept with her. He spent the night, but didn't sleep with her. And I just couldn't believe that. He told me that he only entertained her because she made it easy to give her attention. And that's when I walked out. I spent the day with my best friend, drinking a lot. And I decided for my own closure that I needed to know if he really did sleep with her. Regardless, he took off his ring and walked into her house, so I was done. But for my own peace of mind, I needed to know the truth, and I wasn't going to get the truth from him. So I found her number in his phone the night that he got home, so I just called her. Turns out that he lied about being married, obviously. And he took advantage of a poor girl who had recently gotten out of an abusive relationship and finally put her trust into someone again. He did sleep with her. He even left her his shirt because he wouldn't be back for 2 weeks. Yeah, he was planning on going back if I didn't find out. He made that poor girl think that he loved her, and I'm disgusted. He's hurt so many people with this. So here we are. I'm officially a 33-year-old single mom, terrified of life ahead. I haven't eaten in days. My body has been in fight or flight for so long now that I'm currently sitting at the hospital hoping someone can help me reset it so I can finally sleep for once this week and my heart can have a break. Here's to hoping it gets better. OP, while you're at the hospital, you might want to consider an STI test while you're at it. Our next Reddit post is from I'm Online Forever. I'm a 23-year-old woman and I was raised by parents who family vlogged. They began vlogging in 2013, almost by accident, when a video of my brother went viral. It was something I disliked from the beginning because I was a shy child and that didn't fit in with what my parents wanted from me and my siblings. I want to share my story to raise awareness, but please don't try to guess who me and my family are because it'll start a fight with my parents that I'm not in a position to deal with yet. At the peak of their fame, my parents had around 2 million subscribers. The main demographic was mainly adult men. And now, as an adult, I realized that my parents catered their content towards these men. I was one of 5 girls, all a year apart in age, and those 5 years were an absolute goldmine for my parents. Period videos, getting our first bras, having first kisses, all of which were a massive hit with middle-aged creepy men. We eventually ended up being homeschooled so that we didn't have any external distractions, and we weren't allowed to make friends unless those kids were also part of family vlogging channels. Our parents only posted the good things. On camera, it looked like our family was perfect, when in reality, my dad was abusing my mom. They were arguing constantly, and my dad ended up having an affair. The channel ended when my mom found out and they divorced, which nobody online knows about. They blew through the money on drinking, drugs, and vacations they went on without us. I barely have a relationship with my parents because I can't forgive them for taking my privacy away from me. Our next Reddit post is from Kix1. My 14-year-old sister brought a guy over for dinner, and both me and my dad were pretty irritated because the dude looked like he was in his mid-20s. I asked him how old he was, and he said 16. My dad and I just can't understand the world anymore. My mom kept saying what a nice young man he was, while me and my dad were just looking at each other in disbelief. He then dropped by on a daily basis and even tried to become friends with me. Personality-wise, he fits the "why are you playing this deck? It isn't even the meta right now, you bot" stereotype or something. I don't know. Man, I don't even know how they got together. Please don't take this the wrong way, but my sister is a beautiful girl. Why would she settle with such a weirdo? But I don't know. My mom washed the dishes one day and asked me to look in my sister's room if there were any dishes in there. I then found something much more interesting: cigarettes, vapes, and other suspicious things. Upon seeing this, I told my dad, and he was shocked. But I had one question. How did my 14-year-old sister get that stuff? I think you know the answer by now. We didn't tell my sister that we found this stuff, and instead let her boyfriend come over. I picked a time when my mom was at work because she would have held me back. I grabbed the guy and ordered him to show me his ID. He's 21 years old. What the hell? I kindly pushed my sister away and asked him about the drugs. There were also some drugs that go beyond cigarettes. If you know, you know. He denied it again and again until I got more violent. We live in a small village and everyone knows everyone around here. Nobody would sell her that stuff. And don't even get me started on the hardcore stuff that I found. He told me the truth after my grip got stronger, and I kept building more and more pressure on him. This little cornball was actually a drug dealer who was storing drugs in our apartment. I flipped out and screamed in his face. My sister tried to get in our way while my dad woke up and didn't understand the situation. When I told my dad, my sister started to cry and scream. But my dad, to my surprise, let me do my thing, and I punched the boyfriend in the face with a right hook. The punch landed clean, and his lights went out. We then called the cops, and I thought that they would whoop my butt for whooping his butt. But to my surprise, they didn't do me any harm, except for asking me some questions. It's been 4 months since he got arrested, and ever since then, my sister hasn't spoken to me. I want to thank my dad for being so cool, and my mom for not ripping my ears off. She was burning mad until I told her the story. Also, for some context, OP adds that he's 19, a guy, 6'1", and he does martial arts. OP, it's a shame that your sister isn't talking to you because I think you probably saved your sister's life. I don't mean like, saved her from a burning building. I mean saving the trajectory of her life, hopefully. Because, oh man, if this had kept going, she probably would have been pregnant at 15, and then she decides to keep the baby because she's in love with him, and then she gets hooked on drugs, and then he leaves her for a younger woman, and then, gosh, that's just, this is a life-ending relationship, so you did the right thing, OP. Our next Reddit post is from Lapish. About 4 years ago, I discovered that my husband is cheating on me with the typical cliche of a stupid young girl who's barely out of college, and who tries to climb to a higher position by sleeping with a new boss. Almost 4 years have passed, and she continues to earn the same in the same position. Heh, doggy style. Maybe someday she'll realize that she's wasting her time with my idiot husband. Anyways, I've always known about their secret relationship, but I won't say anything for the simple fact that I'd rather be a cuckold with money until my kids turn 18 and I can leave, than a cuckold who has to pay a loan for some blood-sucking lawyers and has to go rent a small apartment with 4 kids. The other big reason is that if I get divorced and he marries that woman, I won't let my children spend time with a woman who clearly will fill their heads with bad ideas about me. She hates me even though I don't even know her. I don't want my kids to be forced with someone who will maybe hate them too. I don't even know if that woman would treat them badly, and they're minors. They'd be forced to spend time with her because my husband could easily have most of the custody because he earns more than me. I don't want that. I want to still have my kids with me. I prefer to save myself the headache of making a scandal that's going to affect my kids. My husband hides this well. He treats me like he loves me and that he loves the kids. And most of all, I have full access to all the credit cards as always. Anyways, his mistress is very stupid. And I'm not saying that just because she screws my husband. She is stupid because she fell in love with that moron who doesn't give her anything good in return. She sends him messages like, "Do you prefer me over your wife? You're gonna leave her, right? I want us to be together. You don't sleep with her anymore, do you? Treat her badly. Your wife is an ugly B-word. I'm sure I feel better than she does, don't I?" My husband replies to those messages with just, "Yes, I treat her badly as you told me. I don't touch her anymore. We'll be together soon," etc. But it's all a lie. He's never treated me badly. He's a totally loving man with me, even now. Also, we've never stopped sleeping together. I don't want him to suspect that I know anything. I think it's obvious that if he hasn't got divorced in 4 years, it's because he doesn't intend to. Anyways, this silly girl seems to really be in love with him and thinks that he loves her. She does everything for him. Recently, I discovered that he has another mistress. He says the same things to this girl, but she's smarter because she only asks for gifts, and that's it. From the messages I read, they don't seem to have a relationship beyond the monetary because she's pretty cold. I guess she wants more expensive gifts, but my husband can't spend too much or I would notice that. She's smarter. On the other hand, the first mistress is totally convinced that my husband sleeps only with her and no one else. That he treats me badly and they're going to live together in a castle of clouds. She doesn't know that we're basically a harem and she's not even the favorite concubine at this point. That was rSlash Off My Chest, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.